In a world where nuclear war has begun, vampires fought back in super real 3D.
This is a movie review of The Creator, and my last video was talking specifically about the camera that they used, which was a Sony FX3, a $4,000 body camera that they used on this insane high-budget production film that I just watched on an IMAX screen, so that's insane. That video that I just made is about that. You can check that out. This is an actual movie review about the movie. So, Gareth Edwards has made some great stuff. For me personally, Rogue One it's my favorite Star Wars movie. Now, some people might have an issue with that, but for me, that one was my favorite. I loved how it was filmed, which is Greg Fraser is a big part of that. But I just thought the grittiness, the realness of the characters, I loved it. Anyway, this movie really brought some new stuff to the table. I felt like the actual movie experience, the story experience, covered some territory in a way that I hadn't experienced before. The movie is amazing, and it's a lot more emotional than I thought it was going to be. It caught me off guard how powerful the story ended up getting. I feel like at the beginning of the movie, there was a little bit of a disconnect as far as how the main character and the well, again, this is the one with spoilers. The child, the way that they were relating to each other, it felt a little rushed. It felt like there was a little bit more established there than had actually been established as far as I had seen, that they were kind of relating to each other a little bit, kind of quickly, but there hadn't been that much substance developed yet. And I feel like I totally get how that can happen in an edit. It really wasn't bad in any way, but I just felt like I wasn't pulled into that relationship that much at the beginning. And you say, well, you have to establish it. And I'm saying, I know that they ended up doing that, but I felt like there were some moments there where they were kind of connecting with each other on a certain level that really hadn't been established yet. And then later, I feel like the last 2/3 of the movie, if you were to chop it into 3 acts, accomplished that much better and really brought it home for me, to the point that I was teary-eyed. A couple of times in this movie, I did not expect for that to happen at all, to be honest with you. And I'm glad, so I love that there was that much emotional substance to it. I felt like it was a little bit over the top how aggressive the humans were. It's a little too easy to not like them, and I felt like it would have been, I wanted it to be a little bit more challenging to I get the human side too, but I felt like it was a little bit of a blanket situation that they put out there with the bomb that went off, and then that's a done deal, and so we just hate robots, and then we can be as brutal to them, and there's no humanity to the robots at all for the people that pursued that, the military force. And I get that. I know how hard it is in already a 2-hour movie to try and establish more. Well, what are we going to do? Spend another 30 minutes just getting people there on that level? Let's just cut to the chase, get that established. That's just the way that things are. But I felt like it was a little bit too easy to not like the military force at first. The military force that our main character was a part of, and even there were some elements there about the aggressiveness that I didn't get how he could have infiltrated as deeply as he did with being married to a person that gave their life to the robots. And then he was still pursuing the, execution of the existence of the robots. And so I felt like he would have been a little bit more sensitive than he was, and ultimately it was still a human bomb that killed his wife, so I feel like that in itself would have been more of a turning corner for him and his caringness for the robots. So first act, that would be the complaint. When I say complaint, I feel like a dickhead because it was fine. It was an excellent movie. I really don't, I'm kind of just like, I've made stuff. I make videos, by the way. I'm hired by clients to make commercial work. I make music videos. I have my own little show that I've been making that's this weird concoction. It's my band show.
Turn it down. Turn it down.
Sci-fi sci-fi comedy. We scripted out this whole idea. We fight an evil AI. We're going into people's minds with a mind travel device. It's a campy humor. Inside the people's minds, we collaborate with their inner muses. The show is called Cue the Muses. I have 2 episodes. And if you watch that and then you listen to this review, you're going to think I'm an idiot. I almost cursed more than I needed to. You're going to think I'm ridiculous because if you watch that, there's plot holes left and right. I mean, this is a completely shoestring production, except for the music videos actually get quite grand when it comes to the editing and the cinematography and the special effects and stuff. But everything leading up to that is super campy and like super played down and plot holes all over the place. So like, I know it gave me a lot of respect for how much goes in. You think you can get a camera and you can just make a movie. But there's so much to it, guys. It's so hard to know when you're filming how it's actually going to play. You'll think that you have something, but the continuity doesn't match up, so you have to use something else between these 2 scenes, these characters, and you stretch out over weeks of filming, and then you get in the editing room and you're trying to put it together, and you realize these things really don't connect together well. We haven't gotten the character this far along. It's so insanely hard to do this stuff. So when I'm nitpicking about this, it's with the utmost, this is me just being, analyzing, because I'm trying to also get better as a filmmaker too, and I do want to identify where I feel like plot holes are happening, or what I would have wanted to do differently, or why, if something didn't have enough of a character build up, stuff like that. That's important to me to identify it. It's hard. You're trying to compact a full story into a short amount of time. It's becoming a lost art with how popular all the shows are. And so when I see something like this that gets me to the point over the course of 2 hours where I feel attached enough to the characters that I'm actually going to tear up during parts, it's powerful. That's an amazing ability to do. The movie delivered on that front. The sci-fi concept of it was great. The aesthetic, the concept of this Vietnamese like war thing with the AI robots, I believe just the concept of that image is what sparked Gareth Edwards to pursue writing an entire story around it. I believe that's what he said in an interview, and I get it because that image is like nothing I've experienced before. I loved the way that felt, that it was this old school like primal villages and stuff with like rice paddy style, and then you got robots. I mean, like the highest tech robots, and then there's this human force to it. As far as our relatability to them, how humanistic are they? Are they alive? And this movie definitely gets you there. This AI thing, will we get to this point of them being this ultimately what seems to be sentient, and at what point is something not sentient? All these questions get stirred up by the movie. Now, if there was one thing I wish that maybe there was more of, if it had another 30 minutes to it, I would have loved more play on specifically the philosophical conversational aspect of those dynamics. That would just be fun. Now, this is coming from somebody that likes to listen to long-winded podcasts that run 3 hours with psychologists. I enjoy that. That might not be the best blockbuster move. I'm not saying that they should have done it. I'm saying personally I would have enjoyed an additional half hour that was invested in that direction, just to kind of slowly get me there more about like, finally just can't get behind you humans, rather than it being so easy to not like the humans. That's it. That's really like and I get why they didn't do that. If I was going to rate this on Rotten Tomatoes, if I had to give this a tomato score, I would give it an 87%. Now that's pretty darn good. I go see movies that are over 80%, and in fact, I would say that Rotten Tomatoes has become a little bit less of a standard for me to go by over the last year and a half. Definitely on the critics side, I just don't pay attention to the critics part of it at all. I really like just paying attention to the audience at this point. I think that the critics part of it is just completely polluted and convoluted. I can't really follow. I think too much. There's so many reasons why I feel that way about it, but I will follow the audience on it, and I think it's a great movie to go check out in the theater. It's definitely deserving of that. So if you guys did get to see it in the theater, I don't think you'll have regretted it. And of course, just like any movie, guys, I know there's going to be people that don't like the movie. Just like every single movie that exists, there's no movie that's universally liked. But I'm on the camp that enjoyed the movie. Bravo, Gareth Edwards, on another great addition to your portfolio and another gift to the filmmaking world of keeping movies alive and not just shows. It takes a lot to get out to the theater. And this one, there was multiple reasons why it was enough of a reason to go check it out in the theater. The last movie I went to see in the theater was Oppenheimer, and I'm glad I went to go see that in theaters. I didn't do a full review on it, but I thought that movie was excellent. Huge Christopher Nolan fan. He's one of my top 5 favorite directors. Other favorite directors of mine, just so you can get an idea of my taste, are Quentin Tarantino. I love the Coen brothers. I love Wes Anderson. I could go on, but those are some of the tops for me. I just saw, this movie literally an hour or so ago, so I got to sit on this. I like to think about a movie for a few days after I've seen it. It's kind of abrupt to do a review on it for me right now, but I had already just done a review about the camera, and I could talk about that immediately. I wanted to talk about that immediately while it was fresh in my mind, some of the shots and scenes, so that's why doing both these videos back to back. If you're curious about the camera thing, guys, it was made with a $4,000 camera, a Sony camera, a little mirrorless camera that's this big. It can see incredibly well in low light, and it's amazing that's done like that. Obviously, I've got cameras, and I was talking about that in the last video. These bigger cameras. I've got a smaller camera that I'm filming on now, much more similar in size to the Sony. This is a Canon instead, but I do have a Sony here. I've got I got a Sony mirrorless as well. So I like all the brands, but it's pretty amazing that a budget like this was put into using a camera that costs that. That's pretty amazing. So anyway, guys, that's a movie review. I don't normally do that on this channel, but I went ahead and did it. So there you go. Great storytelling, good acting, good script, fun concept, great mashup of styles. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought about it. If there's something new that you felt like it brought to the table, or something that just felt regurgitated in some way. I mean, it's very hard to do stuff that's new nowadays. Take care, guys, and maybe I'll catch you on the next one. I might do another movie review at some point, so if that's what you're interested in on this channel, let me know, and I would do more movie reviews. They're fun. All right, take care, guys. Bye.